Hello, church. Bob Myers here, sharing with you from Psalm 72. And I pray that you have a blessed day today and walk with the Lord, and that He shows you insight as you study and ponder upon His Word. Psalm 72. This psalm is sometimes called a psalm for Solomon. Sometimes some versions call it a psalm of Solomon. Now, this is the first time we've seen Solomon attached to a psalm. We know he's acquainted with the wisdom literature of Proverbs and the love story in Song of Solomon and the wisdom in Ecclesiastes, but he shows up a couple times in the Psalms. And so this may have been penned by Solomon. We see a lot of David in it as well, so it could be a prayer for Solomon. This is basically a coronation psalm. This would have been sung, and the occasion of this is when Solomon takes the throne. When David gives the throne to Solomon, and Solomon is sworn in as the king and rightfully made the king. And part of it starts out, obviously or apparently, is a prayer of David for his son Solomon. The first one, he says, "Give the king thy judgments, O God, and thy righteousness unto the king's son." So it's a prayer, and as it were, a laying on of hands, and a dedication of Solomon, and a prayer for him. So we have a prayer for the king, and the prayer is for wisdom in verses 1 to 4. And then we see in verses 5 through 7 the blessings of a well-governed kingdom. How God will bless a kingdom that's well-governed by wisdom. And then it kind of shifts. In verses 8 through 11, we see he talks about a greater king. And this is not generally referred to as a messianic psalm, but it's definitely has references to Christ. And we see the greater king. And then in 12 through 14, we see the compassionate rule of Messiah, the king. How the Messiah will rule when he rules the whole earth. And the exaltation of this glorious king in verses 15 through 17. He's exalted. And some of those verses apply to Solomon, but all apply to Jesus. And then the doxology, 18 and 19, we end. This psalm is the end of the second book of Psalms. Remember, we had 5 books of Psalms. We had 1. This is 2, and this is the end of 2. And in chapter 73, tomorrow with Justin, we'll start in the 3rd book of Psalm. And then verse 20 says, "The prayers of David, the son of Jesse, are ended." So that would give credence back to the first. That part of this is David's prayer for his son as he's crowned the king. Be blessed today as you study and ponder Psalm 72.